Guys, you know, I can't believe how fast 20 years went by. I mean, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And, you know, to be standing here at center court with you guys, my teammates behind me, and appreciating all this, you know, the journey that we've been on. You know, we've been through our ups and been through our downs. And I think the most important part is that we all stayed together throughout. You know, I grew up a diehard Laker fan. Diehard. I mean, I knew everything about every player that's ever played here. So to be drafted and then traded to this organization and to spend 20 years here, I mean, you can't write something better than this. And I'm more proud of the fact that not about the championships, but about the down years, because we didn't run. We didn't run. We played through all that stuff, and we got our championships, and we did it the right way. And all I can do here is just thank you guys. Thank you guys for all the years of support. Thank you guys for all the motivation. Thank you for all the inspiration. And, you know, what's funny, the thing that had me cracking up all night long was the fact that I go through 20 years of everybody screaming to pass the ball. And on the last night, they're like, don't pass it. This has been absolutely beautiful, you guys. I can't believe it's come to an end. You guys will always be in my heart, and I sincerely appreciate it. No words can describe how I feel about you guys. And thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you guys, and I love you guys. And to my family, my wife Vanessa, our daughters Natalia and Gianna, you know, thank you guys for all your sacrifice. You know, for all the hours I spent in the gym working and training, and Vanessa, you holding down the family the way that you have. I can't, there's no way that I can thank you enough for that. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And what can I say? Mamba out.
I pull up like 2-4. Too many rings on my hand, I can't fit no more. Mamba mentality, I'm just trying to be great. Night to the morning, I'm buying 24/8. Look at my wrist, you see a trophy. I'm just trying to be like.
And welcome to episode 12 of the Section 111 podcast. I'm joined here by a special guest today. I've got the writer of Dear Kobe Bryant, Byron Jamar Terry. Byron, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Byron, you also won 2 state championships as a DB in high school in the state of Georgia. So, you know, that's pretty impressive on the resume too.
Yes, sir.
And you and I kind of talked a little bit before we came on, and you also mentioned that you won a championship as a coach. Was it this past season or the season before?
Mm-hmm. This past season.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. So, you know, keep doing your thing and you know, inspiring these young kids.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Byron. So let's talk a little bit about your piece that you wrote on Kobe called "Dear Kobe Bryant." First, I kind of want to get some background information on you and just ask you, like, how did you first get into writing, and what do you enjoy most about it?
Well, getting into writing, I've always kind of liked English class. Now, I can write like a column or an article, no problem, but when it comes to an English essay, it could be a little more difficult. But I remember just with like sports and things like that, and people have written stories on me just, I guess, involving either recruiting stuff or just football in general and whatnot. So I remember the Players Tribune. I saw one of Tyrann Mathieu's stories for Players Tribune, and I read it, and I was like, oh, you know, this is really cool. So I was like, I kind of want to write one too. So I just kind of decided to take it upon myself and just write one in general. So that's kind of how I got into it. And it's really fun. It's really therapeutic. So I kind of just like doing it.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, and that's really cool. I've read a few pieces that players have written in the Players Tribune, and that's it's really interesting reads and stuff. So that's pretty cool that you kind of have that same mentality, and you being a former player, and you've gone through like recruiting and all that good stuff. So to get your perspective on some things is really cool to read. So I mean, every piece that I've read of yours so far, which I've read several, I've been entertained every single time. So keep doing your thing, man.
For sure. Thank you.
All right. So kind of getting a little bit more into the Dear Kobe Bryant, I got to ask you, man, did you cry at all while writing it?
I did not. Close, but I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna hold it in. And just,
yeah, man.
Go ahead and write it.
I'm not gonna lie. I teared up a little bit reading it, and so if you want to admit it, I'll admit that I teared up a little bit. But writing this, what was the most difficult part about writing it?
The most difficult part about writing it was really just writing it in general. I didn't really put it off, but I was just like, I want to write this, but I was just like, now I don't really want to do it right now. But kind of as time went along, I was just like, all right, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and writing it. And as I was writing it, I was just like, the most difficult thing was just structuring it and just sort of put everything in place sort of how I wanted it. So, and then like I had a rule for myself. I was just like, I don't want this to be so technical like other columns and whatnot. I don't want it to be like, okay, this, and this, or like, the structure of it. I just wanted to just write from the heart, which I usually do, but I just wanted to write from the heart and just kind of go,
Yeah. At what point did you really, think about it or start to think about it and realize like, hey, I want to do something for Kobe? When did that kind of settle in your mind?
Probably not too long before I wrote it. I was just like, you know what, I think this would be really nice. I didn't want to do it right when everything was going on, but I just wanted to wait a little while, and I was just like, you know what, I think this would be a good idea. I think it'd be nice. And that was that.
Yeah, man, I can relate to that a little bit. This is actually the first podcast episode that I've put out since the accident, and I really mentally just couldn't bring myself to, put any type of episode together. I didn't do any like reaching out to anybody, as far as guests to come on the podcast. I kind of just quit podcasting there for a little bit, and I knew that whenever I did come out with that first episode, I wanted it to be something kind of, dedicated to Kobe a little bit. So I saw this as a perfect opportunity, and kind of gives us a chance to talk about your piece, but also, talking about Kobe and the other lives lost.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Byron, what's your biggest takeaway, from this whole tragedy?
Well, biggest takeaway on it was to just basically spend a lot of time with your loved ones and just really just be as kind as you can and just treat people well and just really just be nice and just enjoy, the time that you have. And I don't know, it's really be more family oriented and just care a little more for others. It really just kind of put things in perspective. So, and then also if you're holding grudges and things like that, I've held grudges and stuff before, but you kind of learn to let some things go and just to realize that some of those things aren't as important or so bearing on you as like other things. So it was just basically just to be more family oriented and just care a little more.
Yeah, for sure. I think that a lot of people have really, had a big takeaway from this as far as, perspective on life and the appreciation of family and, our loved ones and everything like that. And I know that I have, and every, waking second that, I spend with my family, with my fiance and my daughter, or, my parents, and siblings. I mean, I've kind of learned that, appreciate every waking second, because you never know when it's going to be taken away in the blink of an eye. So as tragic as this is, it's a big teaching lesson. I think that we can all learn from it, and I think we can all be better.
Yep, definitely.
Byron, what type of goals has Kobe inspired you to achieve in life?
Type of goals, I guess just to be a winner. Like, I look up to a good amount of athletes who really emphasize winning, whether it be Odell Beckham Jr. or Jarvis Landry or Saquon Barkley or Kobe Bryant, really. So just Kobe Bryant was a winner. So he wanted to win basically at all costs, and that was just the main focus, regardless of what other people would say or just anything. He just wanted to win, and just all the doubt, hate, or just negativity or whatever else it was, none of that mattered. The only thing that mattered was to win. So I kind of just try to think of that same thing or keep that same thing in mind when it comes to certain stuff, just to really focus on the task at hand and not really to think too much about outside noise.
Kind of sticking with that same topic, I feel like Kobe plus winning kind of equals the Mamba mentality, right? So I want your definition of what the Mamba mentality is.
I guess, in my opinion, the Mamba mentality is whatever it is, just to keep moving forward and to keep striving for your goals, regardless of whatever trials and tribulations that you may have or any setbacks or just anything, just to keep going and just don't stop until you achieve what you want to do,
That's inspiring stuff, man.
Got to, regardless of what it is, just whatever you've been through or go through, just keep going. That's basically all you can do, is just keep going.
Kind of lightening the mood a little bit. As far as Kobe's game goes, what aspect was your favorite to watch? I know, people enjoy different things about him, but personally, what was your favorite thing to watch about Kobe Bryant?
Favorite thing to watch about Kobe is, I guess, was him being really clutch. I guess being clutch, game-winning shots, and just what I really paid attention to was how alike him and Jordan are. Because like when you're watching Michael Jordan, you're kind of watching Kobe Bryant too. And when you watch Kobe Bryant, it's like watching Michael Jordan too. So I thought that was pretty cool. And really his fadeaways. I really like the fadeaways. Those are just amazing. I don't know how they always kind of like work most of the time, but it was nice.
Yeah. It seems like the fadeaway was always working for Kobe. And, the most impressive thing about his fadeaway was I feel like he always hit it with a hand in his face. And my brother and I kind of talk about this all the time, and we both say that, Kobe's like the best tough shot maker that we've ever seen. It's like 90% of his shots are contested, and he still finds a way, with a hand so close to his face that it's almost, blocking his vision to the basket, and he still just, I don't know if it was muscle memory or what, but he was just always able to put the ball in the hole. So, but yeah, that fadeaway was nasty. I think
seen a lot of guys do it too nowadays. A lot of people do the fadeaway too, especially guys like DeMar DeRozan and some other ones.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could definitely say that Jordan and Kobe kind of revolutionized the game a little bit, and everybody kind of wanted to have that trademark fadeaway that both of those guys possessed. So I think you got to give Kobe and Jordan a lot of props. Mainly Jordan because he did it first, but Kobe's one of the few that was able to replicate it as well as Jordan did it. So, and not many since then have been able to. I think you could look down the list, over the years, and say like maybe Carmelo or most recently probably I would say Jason Tatum. You've got some older and younger guys that have kind of, I'm not gonna say perfected it, but they've definitely added that skill to their offensive arsenal and whatnot. So, but yeah, I think my favorite thing to watch about Kobe was, and it's kind of, I feel like a lost art in basketball today. And I loved watching Kobe's footwork. Kobe's footwork was just, it was insane. I would say that he has the most elite footwork that I've ever seen, and I would even categorize Jordan in that. I think that Kobe actually had a little bit better footwork than Jordan, and with guys like LeBron and even like Durant and some of those guys, like they're really skilled. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like if they had Kobe's footwork, it would make them 10 times harder to guard. And I feel like neither one of those guys just have the footwork that Kobe did. And so I think that's kind of an underrated aspect of Kobe's game as well. But, and that's actually my next question for you is, what do you think was the most overlooked attribute that Kobe possessed?
Most overlooked attribute? I'm not really sure about overlooked. I guess probably not as talked about. The one thing people would say about Kobe is that he didn't really have a weakness. So he could dribble with his left hand, right hand, didn't really matter. He didn't really have a weakness. So I guess one thing people kind of overlook, I would say his assist making. I think he's like 31st all time in assists. I know that might not be great to some people, and people would say that he's a ball hog and all this other stuff and blah, blah, blah. But I think that's a part of his game that was overlooked, and also defensively. I know basketball, people don't really pay too much attention to defense because I feel like the league is really offensively driven, But I believe he was second all-time in all-NBA defense under Tim Duncan. I think he has 12 all-NBA defenses.
I don't have it in front of me, but I believe you're correct. Yeah, he was on the all-defensive team, I believe, 12 times. And I think it was nine first team, if I'm not wrong.
Yep.
So,
I think so.
That's a great answer. Kobe's defense was definitely, I would say, overlooked just because of his ability on the offensive end, right? So, scoring 50, 60, or 81, whatever it may be, I think that Kobe's defense was overlooked, and at times he was locked down. And I saw this video the other day, and the caption of it was, whenever Kobe pulls the shorts up, you're about to get clamped. And sure enough, he did that to Kyrie. And I mean, Kyrie, he's broken a lot of people over the years, and Kobe put the clamps on him and ended up blocking his shot. But that was just one of the many, possessions and series that I've watched of Kobe where he really locks up. And the people who say that Kobe doesn't pass or whatnot, they're the same people that they didn't watch Kobe or the Lakers like a lot of Laker fans did, including myself. They didn't stay up till 10:30, on a school night watching Kobe. And so if you want to say he didn't pass, that's fine. But I mean, the guy averaged five assists a game for his career, so that's not too shabby in my opinion. Right. But yeah, I mean, on the defensive end, I feel like a lot of people just didn't pay much attention because they're just waiting for the next offensive possession to see what Kobe's going to do. But that just speaks volumes to the type of offensive skill that he had. To where his defense was so good that it was that overlooked. But Byron, I know that I've traveled to many games and have watched many of hours on TV of Kobe. But do you have any Kobe stories or memories that come to mind?
Let me see. I didn't see Kobe play in person, but on TV, watching him a lot just because like my family consists of Lakers fans and stuff like that. So they'll make a point to watch just the Lakers, just to watch Kobe, because like some of my cousins play basketball. So, their dad, my uncle, would really make a point to like make them watch Kobe just to like learn and stuff like that. But I remember I was like, I think 9 or 10 years old when the Lakers played the Celtics in the finals and they lost. And then I think it was Kevin Garnett's "Anything Is Possible" speech. I think it was Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
So he was saying anything is possible, and I'm just sitting there watching, and I'm just like, I wasn't paying like full attention just because I was like young, so I didn't really pay too much attention to it. But I was just like, what is going on? So I'm just kind of looking. I'm just like, the Lakers just lost. I'm like, dang, But so they did come back later on and beat the Celtics. So I was just like, oh, that kind of made me want to pay more attention to basketball as a whole. So like, I love basketball. Football is my first love and always will be, but basketball is right there too, right there.
Yeah, man, just hearing you talk, kind of reminisce a little bit, but that 2008 finals against the Celtics, that was a tough one to watch. But honestly, I wouldn't trade it for anything, just because I feel like that series really made Kobe hungrier, and he came back in '09, and Lakers defeated the Magic in 5 games, and then they came back in 2010, like you were just talking about, and had a rematch with the Celtics, and actually had to come back from, I think it was 3-2 down in the series. They won Game 6 and 7 in LA, but getting that revenge, I think, was kind of brought on by the 2008 loss, and so I think it kind of fueled Kobe and fueled the rest of the Lakers to really train harder and come back and beat them, and they did, and everybody knows that they won back-to-back championships in 2009, 2010, and that really cemented Kobe's legacy, but also cemented probably Pau Gasol's legacy as well, and some of the other Lakers such as Derek Fisher and Lamar Odom. But yeah, man, that's really good times. Just sitting here thinking about it.
Back to the Mamba mentality. I do mention this in my column, and I was talking about having the Mamba mentality and just a story where the reporter, or like during the press conference, was asking Kobe, he was like, "Why aren't you happy? You're up 2-0." And he's just like, "Job isn't finished. Is the job finished? I don't think so."
Right.
So I remember during the season of coaching, well, when I was coaching football, I was just like, you know what? I don't really care too much for winning however many regular season games. It doesn't matter. I just want a championship. And we were undefeated throughout the whole season. And we went 9-0 and won the championships. But I was just looking at it like, I mean, yeah, we're beating teams by however many we're beating them. Some games, some teams are, of course, harder to beat than other teams. So the score may be a little closer, but either way, I wanted to win. But even throughout the season, I'm like, yeah, we won this game by this much, or we won this game, we beat this really good team, but I'm not going to be satisfied until we have a championship. I was just like, I'll celebrate and be happy and all that once we win the championship. And we finally won the championship, and I was like, okay, now we can celebrate. Like now I can be happy that we won. I didn't care for really much anything else. I just wanted to win and win and win and win and win and win. And just finally, like, I was kind of spoiled because my high school team would win a whole lot, So, but I wanted to win as a coach too, be a part of that. Just how I was in high school, being a part of some state championship winning teams. So I was just like, I just want to win. I don't really care for, the regular season all that much. I just want to get to the playoffs and win. I didn't even care about going undefeated. Just as long as we won a championship, I was fine. So,
yeah, man,
we kind of did that.
That's that mentality. And, that's what I think that's what made, what makes Kobe so special is not only did he possess that, but he's inspired others such as yourself to kind of have that same mentality with whatever whatever it is you do. If it's coaching, if it's playing, whatever it is, he's a true inspiration to many, and that's what makes it so hard is that we lost such a great role model for anyone, not just young kids. I mean, adults too. And but yeah, I mean, you talking about that press conference where he says that that's one of my favorite Kobe moments. That's not
for
one
sure.
that I was there for, but I remember watching it on Sports Center. Like you're up 2-0, and he says job's not finished, and that gets me just thinking about it. But thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, no, and like in the article, I was talking about how just everything that happened, like playing basketball was like one of the only things to really help me get through everything that was really going on and help me cope with it. So I was just like, I just want to play basketball, just some pickup games and just try to take my mind off everything. But, when you're playing basketball and everything that happened and just, it's Kobe Bryant and all that, it's kind of hard not to think about, like I'll be sitting there, I'll throw a piece of trash away and I'll be like, Kobe, and I'll be like, it's like, oh man, just really thinking about it. And I remember in 2018, I think in November 2018, I made a YouTube video about some of my biggest inspirations. So I'm kind of gathering everything up for the video, and I was just like, oh, perfect. It was just like Kobe Bryant. I was like, all right. I mentioned him last because he was the greatest out of everybody I mentioned pretty much in my opinion. And I was just like bringing up when he was doing an interview, and he was just like, people are scared to go for their dreams and their goals basically because like basically saying they could be afraid to fail or just anything like that. I actually have the quote somewhere. So he said that the greatest fear that we face is ourselves. It's scary to accept the dream that we have, and it's even scarier to still say, okay, I want that. Being fearless means putting ourselves out there and going for it no matter what. Not for anybody else, but for you. So after I saw that, I was just like, man, it really makes you think about just everything. Just, back to the Mamba mentality, just like no matter what, just keep going regardless of any type of doubt or any type of negative opinions people have or whatever it is, just to keep going. So I kind of try to think about that as I'm trying to achieve whatever I'm trying to achieve, involving success and whatnot.
Yeah, man, definitely. As you were talking, I was kind of thinking about a funny little story. So my brother and I, he's 4 years older than me. This was back in 2012, I believe. We drove to Memphis, which is an 8-hour drive from our house, and so we drove down that morning. Drove 8 hours. We literally had time to eat real quick, and then we went to the game. Kobe and Bynum that night combined for, I can't even think, like 60 some points. I think Bynum had 37. Kobe had probably 30. Bynum also had I think almost 20 rebounds or something like that. It was just an insane number. That was one of Andrew Bynum's best games for the Lakers, and Kobe went off too. And so after the game, we go back to the hotel. We leave the very next morning, and so in 24 hours, or a little more than 24 hours, we drove 16 hours. So we were on the road, for most of the trip. And as we leave the next morning, we're driving through Tennessee, and we get pulled over by this state trooper. And so he comes up to one of our windows. Well, comes up to my brother's window first. He was driving, and he asked him to get out of the car. And we're like, okay, it's kind of weird. But he asked him to go to the back of the car. He asked him a few questions. I'm sitting in the passenger seat, not knowing what's going on, what he's asking or anything like that. And so after that, my brother comes back to the car, and I'm like, what did he want? Well, next thing I know, the guy's kind of pecking at my window, and so I roll it down, and he's like, sir, come to the back of the car with me. And I'm like, okay. So I get out, and I go to the back, and he's like, do you know this guy? And I'm like, yeah, he's my brother. Or I say, yeah, I do. And he's like, how do you know him? And I said, he's my brother. And he's like, where are you guys headed? And I said, we're going home. And he said, where'd you come from? And I'm like, we went to the Lakers game, and it was the most awkward thing. And he's just like, all right, have a good day. So the whole way home, we were just kind of shell shocked by that whole sequence of events. It was the most bizarre thing. But thinking about that, the game was one thing, and I hate to take that away from a Lakers win or from Kobe or any of those guys' performances, but the highlight of the trip was getting pulled over and just being treated like we were criminals or major drug lords or something like that. It was kind of funny, but we always talk about that trip and talk about that moment.
Like you said that you kind of teared up while reading it. Sometimes I just kind of think about it. It's even hard to read even after writing it sometimes. So it was kind of difficult writing it, and it was also can be difficult to read. But one of my goals, I was just like, you know what? I do want to make someone cry by writing this, just to a funny thing. Because I remember I was sending to people, and I was like, just make sure you have your tissue box ready whenever you read it, But I remember I was just like, if any line is going to get them to cry, what would it be? So as I'm just reading it, after I write it and stuff, after I wrote it and stuff like that, I was just like, what did I say? And in the article or the column, I said, you affected people who didn't even know very much about basketball, let alone sports in general. And I was like, that's how big you were. You've inspired so many people. You're my generation's Michael Jordan, or better yet, you're my generation's Kobe Bryant. And I was just like, oh.
Yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie, that part got me a little bit.
I was just like,
I think the part that really touched me the most was when you talked about the ceremony for Kobe and Gigi, and you talked about Vanessa's strength to be able to even get up and do so, and right there, like, I was kind of trying to imagine myself, in Vanessa's situation, and I couldn't even put out an episode about a dude that I never met, let alone, if that was my significant other and my baby that, were tragically taken away from me. So that part got me a lot. And, every time I've read it several times now, but every time I read it, that same thing just gets me every time. But I think that when the listeners go to check this out, because I know they will, because they're the most loyal listeners ever. But I know that when they go to check this out, that there's going to be a couple spots in that column that really touch them, and I'm sure that they're gonna get a little teary-eyed. So just a fair warning to you guys.
Like, I didn't even want to go to school just because, like, I was already kind of like, just, I guess, I mentioned this in an article. I know I keep reverting back to it, or column, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I was just like, this happened. And I was just kind of really down. I was like, I don't even want to go to school, but I was just like, you know what? Kobe wouldn't want us, being so sad and all that for too long. He'd want us to go back to work or go back to school, go back to practice, whatever it is, and to just keep on working, because, that's what he would do. So I was just like, you know what, let me go ahead and go to school, get my work done, in spite of just all that was going on. And with the whole generation comment that I made in the article, because people talk about Michael Jordan, and some people be like, well, some of y'all youngins never saw Michael Jordan play, and just like all this stuff. So like Kobe, like, in my opinion, like, he was our generation's Michael Jordan, but I was just like, that doesn't do it justice. I was just like, that doesn't do him any justice, or as much justice as it could. I was just like, he's our generation's like Kobe, just like by himself,
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, as similar as Kobe and Jordan's games were, at the end of the day, Kobe's Kobe and Jordan's Jordan. They were two separate people, with a similar basketball skill set, but they had different lives, and Kobe's unfortunately was taken much too soon, and it's really unfortunate. And I'll sit around and I constantly see stuff on, especially Instagram, Twitter too, but mainly on Instagram. I see pictures of either Kobe like during his playing days, or pictures of Kobe and Gigi. Like, I see all that stuff still, and it still like gets to me like man, like, this dude that I idolized for 20 some years is no longer on this earth. Like, it's still hard to fathom, and I still really haven't come to terms with it. And like, in a weird way, like, and I'm sure a lot of people feel like this, it's like I lost a close uncle or something. Like, it's weird because I never met the dude, but like, you feel like him on that level, to where it's like you lost a close uncle, and like, this is the grieving process, and it's really weird and hard to explain, but that's kind of how I've felt about it and how I've dealt with it. But I kind of went through something similar, like you were talking about, like, not wanting to go to work the next day, and I remember probably 3 or 4 days later, every morning, like, that was kind of the first thing that I thought about. And so, like, driving down the road, I was kind of asking myself, I'm like, man, like, when does this get easier? And honestly, it has gotten easier. But like, at the same time, I kind of, once again, putting myself in like Vanessa's shoes and all that, I'm like, does it ever get easier for her? I don't know. I don't know that it's gotten any easier. I don't know if it ever will. I don't think that a human being can go through that kind of tragedy and something that unexpected, and just move on with their life without thinking about it every waking second, because I know that I would. I know that if I lost my fiance and my baby girl, that, I would never, I don't think I would be able to get out of bed, or even catch my breath for that matter, So kind of think about it. I kind of just thought, like, Vanessa and their children have it so much worse than any one of us could ever imagine.
Yeah. I even thought about writing Vanessa. I even thought about doing that.
Yeah, man, that'd be a cool idea. That'd be really cool.
I remember, like, in the article, going back to it once again, I was just like basically saying that I'm making it a point to appreciate more like NBA players that I like now, like Kevin Durant, because he's my favorite player, or like LeBron, Kyrie, whoever, because I didn't appreciate Kobe enough. So I was just like, I felt like sad, but I felt like bad at the same time. I was just like, dang, I didn't appreciate Kobe enough. I feel, kind of terrible about that. But, so I just try to make a point to watch other NBA players that I like as much as I can. So just getting homework done or whatever else, just so I can watch the game, So just like stuff like that. I remember I tweeted, I was like, Kobe Bryant will always be my favorite basketball player, all time. And I don't really see that changing, regardless of what Kevin Durant or LeBron or whoever else does. Kobe, I feel like he'll always be my number one all time.
Yeah, Byron, that's a really good point, about just appreciating the now, right? So with LeBron or KD or Steph or whoever or whatever sport or whatever occupation, I don't know, say it's your boss that you really enjoy having around, or one of your teachers that you enjoy having around, like, they're not going to be around doing what they do forever. So, I do have a bigger appreciation for people, especially NBA players like LeBron and co. But I used to be a huge LeBron critic, and not just because he joined the Lakers now, but just I've always had a respect for him. But I really started to come around to LeBron towards the end of his Cleveland tenure, and because I realized, like, hey, this guy's a just a freak and a once in a lifetime generational athlete, and you never know when he might not be here. So appreciate what we have now, and that was another one of the takeaways from this tragedy that I had was appreciate everything now, and and stop with the comparisons. That's the biggest thing that gets me now is people still want to compare Kobe and Jordan, like who was greater, or LeBron and Jordan, LeBron and Kobe. Like I get it. I still get asked all the time, like, who do you think's the best player ever? I'm like, why does it matter? Like, at the end of the day, it's my opinion. It's your opinion. It's it's just an opinion. So, like, no stat or anything is probably ever going to change my mind. And it's like the same with politics. Like, if you're a Democrat or Republican or whatever, you're never going to change the other party's mind. So, just with the comparisons, like, people really just need to stop and just appreciate the now.
Definitely.
But, Byron, just to wrap things up, do you care to share a few other topics that you've written about?
Before I do that, I got one more thing to say about the article.
Sure.
I know
Go ahead.
I'm basically spoiling it, but so after that happened, everything with Kobe and stuff like that, I do write about this. I said that I had a friend who plays basketball and stuff like that, and she had a bad game, and she was just like, down on herself and just all this other stuff, and I was just kind of giving her some words of encouragement. It wasn't all your fault. Y'all probably lost, or she said she had a bad game shooting wise or whatever. So I was just like, you can't put all the blame on yourself, and just don't really trip too much about it, for lack of a better phrase. Just just got to keep going and just keep getting better. Even if that means taking a whole bunch of shots in the gym at whatever time of the day, in the morning, at night, whatever. Just because like Kobe would kind of do the same thing. So after that, I kind of knew I wanted to help her improve her game, even though I'm still kind of learning about basketball myself. But I was just like, that was just something that I really wanted to do. So, and just help other people in general, stuff like that. So
Yeah, for sure. That's really cool. You know, I always encourage, you know, anyone to help out other athletes and you know, young kids and all that stuff. I coached a third grade team, this basketball team this past season, and you know, it's hard to get people motivated to do things that sometimes they don't always understand. And you know, trying to teach someone fundamentals of basketball is kind of a tougher task than it seems. But the more coaches and you know, the more basketball minds that we have out there, you know, the better. So I think that we can all teach others, you know, the game of basketball, but also you know, teach others things about life and other aspects. You know, because I mean, there's more than life than sports. And you know, I think that I'm going to go back to the Kobe thing real quick, but you know, this whole tragedy shows you that you know, sports isn't going to be there always. But when it does come to sports, you know, let's try to do the best that we can to improve the game, because I think that's what Kobe would want to do. He would want us to keep working and you know, keep inspiring is the main thing.
Definitely. Yeah. So, like you were saying, I guess a few other, I guess topics and stuff like that. I have other articles and columns and whatnot as well. So if people want to look at that, they can just go to my Twitter account at BJT_era, same as Instagram. Or, you know, there's a link to all that on there. Or if they want to go to my Medium account, it's just my name, Byron Jamar Terry. And also I have a YouTube channel, which is, you know, the channel name is my name without my middle name, just Byron Terry. But if they want the specific channel name, is the Terry Byron 1. So it's like my last name, first name, and like a number 1. So if they want to watch some videos and all that, be sure to subscribe and all the other cool stuff. And yeah. So some other articles that I have that I really like and enjoy and want other people to like look at and stuff like that is my bounce back article, which was the first one that I wrote, and it's about just like me personally and just, you know, mental health and just overcoming adversity and whatnot. So I like that one. Another one is the mental health of athletes, and one of the athletes I mentioned in there is DeMar DeRozan. I know he works with athletes and mental health and stuff like that, especially with the NBA. So I'm trying to kind of get on his level, you know, and do stuff like that. So he's kind of inspired me to do a little more of that. What motivates me? That's a good one. And I guess really any of them, but those are some of my favorite ones.
Yeah, I've had the time to check out a couple of those that you mentioned as well, and you know, like I said earlier, all the ones that I've read, I've enjoyed, and you know, like with this podcast, like if I entertain one person or 5 people for any amount of time, like I consider that a success. So, I mean, I think that you should feel proud, you know, because I mean, I was entertained the entire time, you know, that I was reading those columns and everything. So, you know, just like I said earlier, just keep doing your thing and keep inspiring and keep entertaining, you know, keep the stories coming. I enjoy them personally.
Yeah, thank you very much, for sure.
Yeah, no problem. All right, Byron. Well, I think that's going to wrap us up, but I do appreciate you coming on Section 111 podcast, and maybe I can get you to come on again in the future.
For sure.
All right, Byron.
Thank you.
That was Byron Jamar Terry, writer of Dear Kobe Bryant, joining me here on Section 111. I'd like to thank you all for tuning into this episode, and in this episode, I hope that you all laughed. I hope that you all cried. I hope that you reminisced. And most importantly, I hope that you all remembered the life of Kobe Bean Bryant.